Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope everyone's doing well. In today's video I am going to be talking about my hair transplant experience. I had my hair transplant back in October of 2018 and so obviously it's been a while, and now I've got the hairline of my dreams, as it were, but not quite. I wish it was a little bit thicker, but what can you do? So yeah, I just thought I'd get on camera and talk about my experience. When I was about 24, that's when I realised that my hair was going a little bit thinner, and I did like everyone else would do. I went out and bought supplements. I bought nioxin. No, it's not called nioxin. It's I forget what it's called now, but it's like a mousse you spray on your hair to help your hair not fall out, I suppose. But obviously nothing really worked. So I did look into the price of a hair transplant in the UK, and I think they can be quite expensive. £5,000 to £10,000 I think they range from. So for me it was just sort of like a little bit too far out there for me to even have that be a possibility. I did look at other things as well. There was this, I don't know actually what it's called, but it's like a hair replacement thing, a unit. So, or it's like a front lace sort of stick-on thing, but you have to shave your hair on the top, and then you have this thing glued onto your head, and I think you can wear it for like up to 3 months. And I did look into that a little bit, but then I thought I don't know whether I'm ready to just shave that top part of my hair and then keep having that every 3 months. So I was just sort of like a bit of a loss, really. At one point I did used to do a lot with my hair, so I would always bleach it. I've had a few perms in my time as well. If I'm clever enough, I'll actually put some things in the bottom of the screen, or on the screen somewhere. I'm not really that tech savvy, so whether or not that will happen, I don't know. But yeah, so it was about 24 when I started to go a little bit thinner, and obviously as the years went by, it just got thinner and thinner and thinner. And yeah, it was really sad, because I used to love doing different things with my hair, and but it got to a point where I was I'd have my sides and back really, really short, and then I found this spray that I used to like spray on, or you get different powders and stuff, and so I used to use that, and I always used to put dry shampoo on it as well. To be honest, it was really disgusting, really. Like, when I think about it now, I'm like, oh god. And this stuff that I used to use was it came in different colours, so I used to use black and like brown. And so you spray it in your hair and then you sort of dry it in. And I used to use that all the time, and it cost me a fortune. It was ridiculous. But the thing I would find is, like, sometimes, say if I had an itch, I'd itch, and then I'd have like dark marks on my fingers, and then I'd find them on my door handles or the wall or something like that. I think, oh crap, I've got like dark marks everywhere from my hair. So yeah, for me at that point it was just like, ooh, it's driving me nuts. But that was the only thing I could do to actually feel like I could go outside, because before that I would never have gone out without spraying something in my hair or wearing a hat. So yeah, it was just, that was like the last point. And then one day I was on Instagram, and I was just scrolling through the different people's stories, and there's a guy I follow on there, and he at the time was actually in Turkey having a hair transplant. So, and I was watching his story, and people were sending him questions to answer, and one of the questions was, how much was it? And I think he said it was sort of 1,300, around that price. And when I heard that, I thought, wow, that's crazy that it could be so cheap. So yeah, I messaged him and asked him for details, how it sort of works and stuff like that. And then he messaged me back and said, yeah, go for it and stuff like this. And so I did. I DM'd the company on Instagram, and they sort of came back with a sort of details of a number to sort of arrange everything. And so first of all I was a little bit like, God, this is a bit weird. You're arranging something through Instagram DM or WhatsApp, but and I would tell everyone, and they were like, oh God, you should be a bit careful. You can't trust everything online. But I thought because he'd gone and he was having a good experience, I thought, you know, I'd go along with it. And I'd seen a few other people online who had good experiences as well. So I thought, you know, it can't be that unsafe. So I was in touch with somebody on WhatsApp. I think his name, I think they probably varied who spoke to who, but I think the guy Emre was his name, I think. And to be honest, for the most part, they were really, really helpful. You know, you'd ask questions and, you know, sort of like, what do you have to do and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, so I think what you would, if I remember, I think you would arrange a date for the transplant to happen, but then they would look at flights, or you tell them the date that you wanted to go, or, you know, sort of when you were thinking, and then they would send you flights and stuff like that. So at this point, I was thinking about obviously going. It was to Istanbul in Turkey, and me and my partner and I were gonna go. He was gonna come with me, so we decided that we were gonna ask if it was possible to have a longer stay in the hotel and, you know, sort of like prolong our trip. And really, the person who I was speaking to from this company, they were really, really helpful with because what happened was you pay for the hair transplant, the transfers from the hotel to the clinic, I think. No, not to the clinic, from the airport to the hotel, and then from the hotel back to the airport on the way back. And I think originally it's like a 3-night thing. Your first day you go, you have a consultation. The second day you go and have your procedure, and then the next day you go and have a checkup. So it's only like a short stay. But obviously we were thinking about having a little break while we were there as well. So we stayed for an extra week. No, it was either 5 or 6 days extra, you know, on either side. So I was in touch with the guy on WhatsApp and asked him that, and he was really, really helpful, and, you know, sort of like working out costs of how much extra it would be. And to be honest, it wasn't that much extra on top of the original price anyway. So we were just sort of thinking, right, you know, we can go have a few days out and about and explore and stuff. So yeah, we booked it and we went in October. I think the first couple of days we were there, we were just sort of exploring a little bit, and for me, I was scared because, yeah, obviously I was anticipating the hair transplant, but just being it was quite busy there. I don't know if anyone's been to Istanbul. It's gorgeous, but it's so busy, and I get a little bit anxious. I was a bit out of my depth, to be honest, but it was still nice. And we, you know, went to see some sights. I went to the market. What do you call it? The bazaar. I think, yeah, the bazaar. So we went there, you know, did a little bit of shopping and stuff like that. And so it was nice because we were able to shop and explore a few days before, and it was just sort of getting settled into the area and stuff. And then I was put in touch with another person who would be my sort of translator. So I was in touch with another person. I can't remember his name. I don't even think I've got the conversation, to be honest, because it was a long time ago. And he was in touch with me, and we would message back and forth, and we were arranging to meet in the hotel lobby the next day. So he would accompany me in a taxi to the hospital. So the next day, obviously, I was like really nervous and stuff, as you would be, because you're in this different country and you don't know what to expect. And my partner, he stayed at the hotel, so I went on my own. And this guy was really, really nice. He was really helpful. Yeah, he was really, really good. And so we went to this building, and for me, I was a little bit sort of, it was like a high-rise sort of building, and I was a little bit like, oh God, is this even a hospital? But it was. So we went in, and then he took me upstairs, and then we went into this small room, and I was a bit I did get a little bit scared because it was just a room with no windows, and it was a small room with no windows. And I was just a bit like, oh my gosh. So he sort of like talked me through what will happen, and he told me the nurse will come and, you know, she'll take the measurements or whatever, And so, oh, sorry, I think I've just spilled juice on myself. No. And so, yeah, so I was waiting in this room. If I am clever enough, I will sort of post pictures of the markings on my head that she made. So she came in and then sort of like was speaking in Turkish to the translator, and he was sort of translating to me, which was nice. To be honest, it did make me feel a little bit at ease that I had him there for that moment of time to sort of talk me through, and I was asking him to ask her, you know, could she do this, could she do that? But because I wanted sort of like, after she'd made the markings, I wanted sort of like it to be a bit lower, but because of the muscles in the face, that wasn't a possibility. So I was a little bit disappointed, but so I just, you know, went with it anyway. They're the professionals. And so, yeah, so that was that. They all left. He said he's going to go and then come back. I think he was going to the cafeteria. So I was in this room on my own, and I sort of sat there and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm in Istanbul in this small room with no windows, and I'm about to have a hair transplant. So I was terrified. And then so the guy goes, and then I'm in this room, and then one of the nurses come in, and then she says, lie down. And I was like, oh, like we're starting now? And she was like, yes. So I was like, okay. So I laid down on my front, and then she, you know, she didn't really say anything. So I was a bit like, I didn't know what to do. And then I just said, you know, will it be painful? And then she says, little bit. And she was lying. She was a liar, because it hurt a lot. So I was laid down, and then what they do to start with is they put anaesthetic into the back of your head, because that's where they take the hair from to implant it in the top. So I was laid there, and obviously they started to put the needles in the back of my head, and even when I think about it now, it makes me feel a bit funny, because that was the most painful, oh my gosh, I can't even tell you. It was sort of maybe 15 times in the back of your head. And you know, I was really trying to relax my body, like really trying to just breathe and just relax my body, but I think because of the pain, my body was just like tensing. I remember just shaking like that. I thought, oh my gosh. And at that point in time, I thought I was really regretting my decision to go and have a hair transplant. I thought I'd rather just be bold and old, and that's it. But luckily enough, obviously, as the anaesthetic wore in, it was a lot less painful. So, and then obviously I couldn't feel anything. So I was just sort of like head down on this bed. So they were doing that, and then I just thought, okay, you know, it's happened, and this is, you know, you just got to wait now. So I couldn't really feel anything, obviously, because of the anaesthetic. So I was just waiting, and it was a long time. I was in there from, I think, 12 o'clock in the afternoon till like 7 p.m. So it was a long time, and I didn't actually get a break. I was a little bit annoyed because I had seen other people's posts who had been to the same place, had the same procedure, and they had you know, stopped halfway through to have, you know, water and stuff like that, but I didn't get the chance to do that. So I was a little bit like, ooh. And at one point, you know, I was laying down. They were, obviously I couldn't see anything, so I could, they were speaking in Turkish to each other. And then as I was just laying there, I heard one of the ladies' phones go. So I was sort of like, oh my God, there's a phone ringing. And it was this lady, the lady who was doing it, it was her phone going. And then I stopped, and then she took her gloves off and then answered the phone. And I just lay there thinking, oh my God, she's answering her phone while she's flipping, transplanting my hair. So I was a bit like, oh my God, this is really weird. Is this just a bit unprofessional? But, you know, I just thought, whatever. Obviously I couldn't really say much. My head was like, yeah, and to be fair, they were not delicate with my head. Yeah, I felt like a bit of meat, because my face was squashed into into this thing. It was not the most pleasant experience. I don't know what I was expecting, but I weren't expecting that. So yeah, she answered her phone. They carried on, and then about half an hour later, her phone rang again, and she answered it. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is twice now. I was a little bit like, yeah, I was kind of regretting my decision, you know, even though it was, you know, the price was really good. Is it worth? But, you know, luckily I was fine. But so yeah, she answered her phone a second time, and then halfway through, obviously I had to turn over, and they started implanting the top. The injections in the top for the anaesthetic were not as bad as they were in the back, because in the back it was really, really painful. And yeah, I remember laying there, and I think I had some tissue over my face or something, and I went to reach down for my phone, and then, you know, she said, oh, well, she didn't hit me, but, you know, she said no. I was like, okay. And I thought, that's so weird, because other people I'd seen had, you know, were able to get their phones out and, you know, record themselves and stuff midway through the procedure. So I was a bit like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I just was, wanted to look at the time and stuff like that, see if I had any messages and stuff, but obviously I didn't get to do that. And then so that was that, you know, from 12 till 7, that was happening. I had to stop myself from falling asleep, because I was a bit like just laying in the same position for all that time. And then obviously the procedure had finished, and I sat up, and I tried to stand up, but I nearly fell over because I was dizzy and stuff like that. And then the lady, you know, she said, oh, you know, take a seat. And then I waited a couple of minutes, and then I had some water from my bag as well, just to, because I think I was probably a bit dehydrated. But I did think it was a little bit strange that obviously, because I didn't have a break, I didn't, you know, they were not worried about me having water or anything like that. So for the whole like 7 hours, I didn't eat or drink anything. That's probably why I was a little bit dizzy. And then yeah, so but as I sat up from the bed, blood just dripped down my face, and I saw it like go onto the gown thing that I was wearing, and I was like, oh my god, I feel like I'm in a horror film. It was for me, I'm probably being dramatic, but I was a bit like, oh my god, this is scary, because, you know, I've got blood. But, you know, she wiped me up and bandaged me up and all that kind of stuff. I had my water, and then they escorted me downstairs, gave me the tablets that I needed, and antibiotics and painkillers, I think they were. And so that was that. She gave me that. She gave me everything I needed, and then they put me in a taxi. And then I remember sort of like just sitting in this taxi, thinking, you know, driving through all this traffic, because it was really busy at that time. And I just remember thinking, oh my god, I'm in Istanbul, I've just had a hair transplant, I'm in this random taxi. What have I done, you know? But anyway, so got back to the hotel, and when I looked in the mirror, I could see that obviously it had all the little pinpricks and stuff. Don't know if that's the right word, but implantation. Looked in the mirror, and I thought, okay, this looks all right. But at this point, I was feeling really emotional. I was feeling really sad, because I just wanted to get back to the hotel. To be honest, I just wanted to go home. I was thinking, why did I even do this? You know, I should have just been bold, and that's it. But I got back, and yeah, my partner was there, obviously, in the hotel room, and then I just told him all about it and stuff like that. And then he ordered room service, so that was nice. I forgot what we had, because I was out of it. I was, well, not out of it completely, but I was sort of like, I was just in a dozy kind of state. And so that was that. Obviously I went to sleep, and I had to use my you know, those neck cushions you get for aeroplanes. I've still got mine now. You had to use that to sort of sleep on and hoist your pillows up. And then so my first night, I woke up in the morning, and oh my gosh, it was disgusting. The neck cushion was just soaked with blood. It was horrible. But then obviously I still had like my wraps and stuff on. And then so that, I think the next day it was, yeah, that was the day you have that taken off, I think. Yes, like a checkup. So I had my bandage on, and then I went back. I think then I was put in touch with another girl, no, it was a girl this time, but it was somebody else, not the same guy as before. And she was really, really lovely. Honestly, she was so nice. I can't even remember her name either. Oh, she was really nice. She had lovely hair as well. And so she was, you know, she took me back to the hospital, and yeah, she was really, really nice. And I told her about the woman being on her phone, and she said, oh, you know, that's really not great. So, you know, I'll make sure I let somebody know. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And then, yeah, I did feel like when we were going back for I think because they wash your hair sort of thing and then take the bandages off. And I did think to myself, I was sat in the waiting area whilst they were doing it. But what you have to do is they have to put this foam on first that's like an antibacterial, antiseptic thing. So I sat in the waiting room while she was sat next to me. And then the guy came out, whoever it was, I don't even know, the nurse maybe. Yeah, he came out, and then as I was just sat there, he just sort of got this foam and just started spraying it all over my head. And I was just sat there, and then it was like dripping down my face. And I was just thinking, are you serious? Like, you take a bit more care. But the girl who was with me, she told him, and then he went to get me some tissue and stuff like that, so I was able to like wipe my face and stuff. But I think at that point I did feel like he was just thinking, you know, oh, another hair transplant bang it out, you know, whatever. So I was just sort of like, oh god, you know. But that was that, and I had to wait 10 minutes, and you know, I was chatting with the girl and stuff like that. She was telling me about her career and stuff, which was nice. And then she did take a video of when I was getting it washed. If I am able, I will insert that video around here somewhere. So that was that. He, you know, washed my head, and then sort of like dabbed it and stuff like that, and then gave me sort of shampoo and some, I think it was still some of the mousse that you're supposed to spray antiseptic stuff on as well. So that was that. And then, yeah, we finished up there and went back to the hotel. And then obviously we were there for a few days. So I rested a little bit, and obviously was careful that I wasn't getting my head in the sunshine or stuff like that. So it was really nice. And but there was one time I thought I was gonna, yeah, it was just not a good moment for me. It was tense anyway, because I had my hair transplant. I was worried about the sunshine and all this kind of stuff. And it was very busy. We went to see the Blue Mosque. It was really, really nice. That was nice. But obviously when you've had a hair transplant, you feel a bit self-conscious, and it's all a bit, you know. Anyway, so it's busy. And we are outside the Blue Mosque near this fountain. And then I was sat there, and I was worried about being in the sunshine, and, you know, sort of, I didn't know whether to put a hood up or what. So I was getting a bit like, oh, I don't know what to do. And as I sat there, we sat down for a little bit, a bird shat on my head, like right there. So at this moment in time, don't laugh. So at this moment in time, oh god, don't. So anyway, so Sam's just laughing downstairs. I can hear me talking. And so I was sat there, and a bird had just shot on my head. What are you supposed to say? A bird crapped on my head. A bird pooed on my head, okay. Yeah, a bird defecated on my head. So anyway, I was sat there minding my own business. Then this bird decides that he wants to drop a load. I'm carrying on because, you know, a bird pooed on my head. Stop interrupting. So yeah, so this bird decides to take a poo on my head. And I sat there, and I turned around, and like you just heard Sam laughing now, he did the same thing then, and just burst out laughing in my face. And I was sat there, and I thought I could have just screamed. Well, probably, I think I did scream a little bit, not too loud, but I just thought, this is just my luck. I've just had a hair transplant, and a bird's just pooed on my head, and I just wanted to get home. So I was not having a good day that day. But luckily, it went on my normal scalp, but then there was only a tiny little bit that was on my implanted area. So I was just worried about infection and stuff like that, you know. Imagine if I got an infection on my head from bird poo. Anyway, yeah, so that wasn't great. And then, but random thought, the McDonald's in Turkey was so cheap. This has nothing to do with like hair transplant or anything like that, but the McDonald's was so cheap, so me and Sam had a feast. It was absolutely great. I think we got so much crap. Anyway, that was one of the highlights of the trip for me, was the McDonald's. But yeah, so yeah, anyway, I digress. Yeah, so that was that. Bear pooed on my head. We carried on our trip, and then it was time to go. And luckily enough, because the company do provide the transport back to the airport, they, you know, obviously we had a taxi waiting and stuff like that. So we went back to the airport, and by this point, I think sometimes people had, I think it's like a 3-day trip. So you obviously, like I said at the beginning, you have a consultation, have your hair transplant, and then have a checkup the next day. And then so it's like a 3-day thing, but obviously we were there for longer. So by this point, it was like 2 or 3 days after I'd had my hair transplant or the checkup, and my head was swollen. So yeah, I don't even know if I knew that this would happen. No, I think I did. I think I'd seen the guy on Instagram. I saw his post, so I knew that it was going to happen. But I think you're usually at home by the point that your head swells up. And now, I don't know about anyone else, but my head is massive. I've always had a big, massive head. Even when I was a child, my head's always just been massive. Just one of them, you know, spud heads. So you can imagine, you know, you've had your hair transplant and your head's literally like, you look like a flipping onion ring. Not an onion ring. What do you call them things? Yeah, no. I don't know what I'm thinking about. Space Raiders. No. Anyway, yeah, you just look a flipping big-headed mess. So yeah, I was a little bit scared, because I thought if my head explodes on the plane, then this has been a wasted trip. But luckily enough, my head didn't explode, and I've got some pictures of that as well. My head looks massive. So I'll post some pictures in here if I can. Yeah, and that was that. So we got on the plane, went home. I think everything was fine then. But I think by that point the bleeding had stopped, because I think after a few days, it's sort of like every morning there would still be like blood on the pillows and stuff like that. So I always had to just be aware of that, because it was really, really disgusting. But we got back home, and then one of the people from the company was in touch, and they said that they will, I think it was sort of like after a month, and then after 2 months, then after 3 months, they will be in touch and ask for progress pictures and stuff like that. So obviously the first month, to be honest, it was, I think I was back to work within like let's say a week afterwards, maybe. I was back to work. My face was still swollen, but I was still able to work and stuff, so that wasn't too bad. But I carried on work, and then obviously the swelling went down. And then what happens is, I think you see your hair coming through, but then there's a point in time where it sort of all falls out again. So yeah, it starts to fall out and then regrow. Anyway, I will post pictures just so you can see the progress. And then obviously now it's 2 years later. Yeah, obviously it's 2 years later. I was just looking at the date then. And 2 years down the line, there was a point in time where I did think, oh, you know, I don't think it's going to work or whatever. But now, obviously, I've got a hairline, and when you see the pictures of before, I obviously my hairline was disappearing fast. But now the trouble I've got is I've got this hairline which I can get away with, you know, having this a little bit longer, so I can, you know, sort of like get away with it. But now it's going bald at the back, and I did think that, you know, maybe I should go back again, but I thought I just don't think I could do it again. I really don't. Just the thought of the pain of the anaesthetic at the beginning was just a bit much for me to handle. So I don't think I'll be doing that. I mean, now if it does get continually worse and I've just got like a bald patch there, I'm just going to get a toupee and stick that on, because I can't be arsed with it anymore. Yeah, so that's where I am now. I've got my hair, but what I try and do is because they sort of, I've noticed now that when my hair grows, there's sort of like where they took the hair from there, it's sort of like it does appear thinner, like there. Not that the hair's thin, but it's like you can just tell there's some hair missing, I think. So now when I cut it, I get it like cut quite high, stuff like that. So anything I can do to try and minimize me looking a total flipping mess. But one thing I do enjoy now is I just have to wash my hair, put serum in it, and that's it. I don't have to do anything with it. And after all the time of putting all those sprays and stuff in my hair and leaving flipping marks all over the place, I don't have to do a thing now anymore. I don't have to put anything in my hair, which is nice, because before, this is so disgusting. Obviously, I told you I used to put all the the sprays and stuff like that. Because I would try and prolong it as long as possible, I would leave it days until I wash my hair again, because I thought there's no way I'm gonna, you know, waste all this product. So yeah, I would try and just not wash my hair just so I could save it a few days, which is disgusting, I know, probably stunk. But no, dry shampoo smells nice, so that was always a bonus. And yeah, so luckily now, obviously 2 years down the line, I don't have to do that. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to worry about it. Obviously the only concern is the balding at the back. But I think now, you know what, I'm 31. If you go bald, you go bald. You know what I mean? Yeah, get a toupee. That's what I'm going to do if it does happen. But it will. I mean, I don't want to put my head down because it is embarrassing. I am embarrassed. But, you know, at least I'm not like walking around, you know. Anyway, so yeah. This was my hair transplant experience. I'm not sure if there's anything that I've missed. I don't think there is, but yeah, that was like the general thing. Overall, the company was all right for me. I mean, it wasn't the greatest, but I don't know whether I was expecting, I don't know, a room filled with roses when I arrived. I don't know, but it was what it was. I know the lady answered her phone, and I did think that was unprofessional, but I thought, you know what, for what you're paying, you get what you get. And obviously now, looking back, I wouldn't go back again, because I just wouldn't. But the fact that I've got like a hairline now, and I've got hair to do, I think for the little bit of trauma that I felt at the time, I think it was well worth it. Because now, you know, I do feel more confident and more comfortable going out. Obviously before I used to spray all those stuff in my hair, but now I don't have to do anything of the sort. I just wash it and go, and I can go out and I feel fine. And I did at one point feel like, oh my God, you know, I feel so old, because I think obviously when you don't have any hair and it's disappearing, you do feel I think it ages you. I don't think I'm wrong in saying that, but I think it did, you know, aged me a lot, I think. I'll let you be the judge of that when I post pictures. But yeah, so obviously like 2 years down the line, I've got a hairline, and yeah, I'm quite happy with it. So if you've got any questions or anything like that, feel free to ask me. Not that I'll be, you know, any use. I can tell you what I know, or, you know, from my experience. And yeah, if you want to find out the place that I went to, I can pass on the information. I just didn't want to put it out there as a blanket statement, just feel like I'm bashing the company, because I'm not. I mean, the people who I saw, who dealt with, were really, really nice. There was just the sort of hiccups of the lady answering her phone and not being able to have a break. That was my only qualm. And that obviously the guy just splashing it all on and dripping down my face, that wasn't a pleasant experience. But you know, I made it out alive, so that's good. But yeah, so thank you for watching this video. I've probably rambled on a little bit far too long, but you know, that's my thing. But yeah, no, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe if you want to, like the video, share it if you want, if you've got people who, you know, are interested in knowing what it's like to have a hair transplant in Turkey. I mean, obviously it will vary from place to place. Anyway, I'm talking waffle. But yeah, no, so I'll wrap this video up here. Thank you for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.